This is my 1983 Audi Quattro, and I've cleaned it up quite a bit with new wheels and tires, suspension. I've done a lot to the interior, but I've never really touched the engine. This car actually runs pretty good once you finally get it started, and I've replaced a few sensors, which definitely helps, but it'll make 12 pounds of boost on a good day. This car's been really good to me and it's never left me stranded, but it leaks oil like crazy and it's not very easy to work on, so I figured why not pull the whole thing out and see what an Audi 5-cylinder turbo motor looks like after 45 years. Kinda sucks knowing this is the last time I'm gonna drive this car for a little while. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous to pull the engine out of my Quattro. I just care a lot about this car and I know parts can be hard to find for it sometimes. I can definitely see having to order a few things from overseas, so I'm trying to make a list of all the different things I'm gonna need to do that so that when we're ready, everything is here and we can put it all back in. I think for now, I'm gonna split the transmission from the engine and pull that out the bottom. That way when we're ready to take the motor out, we'll go from the top and we'll just see how it goes. I'm gonna figure this out as we go along. I pulled this exhaust out last summer and cut out the resonator, so those bolts have already been loosened up pretty easily. The ones up here by the catalytic converter were really rusty and are pretty much just snapping in half. In Oregon, we have to keep the catalytic converter in order to pass the emissions test, which I don't mind too much. This car passes pretty easily, so I haven't really found a reason to get a special plate for it or anything. This catalytic converter will probably need to be replaced at some point, but the car just passed emissions, so we'll be good for 2 more years. I probably didn't need to pull the driveline out of the car to do this, but I figured since I'm here, I'm gonna get it rebalanced because I've got some high-speed vibrations at about 55 miles per hour. I did replace the carrier bearing about 6 months ago, and it seems like that's holding up, but all those vibrations will make it wear out prematurely. One of the things that's gonna help a lot when we put this car back together is keeping all the bolts and small parts organized. It's not fun to go through and try to figure out where all this stuff went, so getting these little bags helps a lot, writing where they go on them, and you'll be happy you did. I should probably pull this downpipe out of the way next. It's kind of in the way of the transmission. If I can reach the bolts on the back of the turbo, you should definitely be able to split the transmission and the engine. It's starting to look more and more difficult, but you wouldn't pull an engine to swap a clutch, so I know it has to be possible. I can see a lot of oil seeping out from the edges of the gasket here on the oil pan, and also a little bit on the return line of the turbo, so we'll be replacing all those gaskets for sure. I decided to abandon my idea of taking that downpipe off. The wastegate bolts were just way too rusty and they were also through bolts. I couldn't get a wrench on the back of them. We're just gonna have to do without it. I started undoing the axle bolts and the transmission mounts, so the only thing holding it on there now is the engine, which means it's time to put together my new transmission jack, which will not only be a useful tool for this project, but many more to come. It's always a good tool to have in the garage. Now I can start unbolting the bell housing, and hopefully this thing comes out easy because that would really make my day. I got most of the bolts off the bottom of the bell housing. Should be able to get the last 2 bolts out of the top here pretty easily. There's a nice big hole here. I realize I probably could have got those wastegate ones from here, but it still would have been a pretty tough job to do by yourself. I'll spare you the 2 hours of footage that it took me to get this thing out. Like I said before, this car is really hard to work on. Everything just gets in each other's way. I had to pull the power steering rack off to get the bell housing out, and in retrospect, I probably should have figured out a way to drop the subframe a little bit because I could probably get a few inches out of those bolts. I know they're really long. I'm gonna end up doing that when I put it back in, I think. I'm just glad it's out. We'll figure out a way to get it back in when it's all ready to go, and excited to move on to the engine, but that's all for today. I'm really tired. I gotta take a break from this because that was exhausting. So tomorrow we'll start on the engine. Yesterday was very time consuming, but I learned a lot, and that's really important to me because now I'll have a better understanding of how this car works, how it all comes apart, and hopefully how it all goes back together. Next is pulling the motor out of the car, so I'm gonna take every single component off the engine that I can so that it's as easy as possible to hoist it out of the engine bay. The first thing I'm gonna tackle is this CIS. It's a mechanical fuel injection system. It's kind of like a prehistoric version of a mass airflow sensor. Air gets sucked in this little entryway here and it opens a valve which allows gasoline to flow in and out of different fuel lines. Each one goes to a separate cylinder, and having this thing tuned just slightly wrong can mess up the whole car. So as simple as it is, it can be very complicated because it's easy to mess up, and I'll probably take this thing somewhere to have it professionally tuned eventually to make sure everything is running properly. But for now, I'm gonna make sure I label everything really well so that I can put everything back together where it goes, because there's a lot of different vacuum hoses and things that go all different directions. It looks like this boost tube going into the intake manifold is totally crushed. I'm sure that's because I lowered the engine an inch or two when I took the transmission out. It looks like it needs to be replaced anyways. It's got some lacerations in it. Who knows when this thing might blow up, so might as well fix it now before it goes. This is just a great example of how close everything fits together in here. There's barely even an inch for things to move around. I got a little tired of messing around with the fueling system, so I jumped ahead and pulled the radiator out and the radiator hoses. I also took all the power steering stuff, which runs off of this weird contraption we call the bomb. This all ties into the power brakes as well and is way overcomplicated German engineering that is also prone to failure, and there's not a lot of replacement parts available for these. So in the future, I might end up retrofitting a brake master cylinder, booster, and power steering setup out of a newer Audi, but we'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Now I'll go back to the CIS and finish that off. Once that's all out of the car, I think we can finally pull this motor. Trying to take as many things off of this engine as possible so I can get it as lightweight and as small as I can so that it's easy to pull out. I decided to take the clutch and the flywheel off. It's hard to say whether this one was in bad condition or not. I definitely glazed it a few times driving the car hard and letting it slip, so it was probably on its way out anyways. I wasn't able to get the downpipe out still, but I did get the intercooler off, and now you can see this cute little turbo here. Looks pretty cool, and I'm glad to say that it doesn't have much shaft play, so hopefully this thing's got quite a bit of life left in it. I don't want to replace something as expensive as a turbo. The last of the fuel injection parts are pulled out now, and I'm happy to say I think that's everything, and this engine is ready to go. So I'm gonna go meet up with my dad here pretty soon. We're gonna grab the engine hoist out of our storage unit, and hopefully we can yank this thing out pretty quickly. Oh yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to get out. The only thing I really don't have, I guess, is a chain to put on the motor. We gotta get the motor pretty high out of the car because we're gonna have to raise the lift and have to clear this so that this can slide under the lift, and then the jack's gonna have to bring it over the core support because I can't take off the core support. I think we got an exhaust leak down here. Yep. Thankfully, we had that engine hoist. It made getting the motor out really easy. My dad and I got it out of there in about 20 minutes. So after spending the last 2 days or so pulling all the other parts out, it was nice for something to go quickly. Everything is pretty much as I expected with the motor. It's nice and dirty. We did find a motor mount on the passenger side that was basically torn in half. So that'll be really good to replace. I do have a crack in my turbo manifold, which is part of the whole reason I'm doing this, because as you can imagine how difficult it is to pull the turbo manifold out and fix something like that when the engine is in the car. The one big bummer that I just found out is the compressor wheel is damaged on the turbo. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do with that. If I should buy a new turbo. I'm definitely not gonna get a bigger one because this is already an upgraded turbo for the Quattro, and I'm not really looking for more power. So I might just try to replace the compressor wheel or find a used turbo on eBay or something. The good news is my car should be faster once all that stuff is resolved. So I'm excited to get this thing back to 100% and see how the car drives after that. I've been looking forward to this moment ever since I bought this car, was getting this engine on the engine stand and tearing it down and cleaning it up so I can get it back together looking really nice and making full power. I could have gotten rid of this motor and tossed it for something newer, something that makes more boost and is fuel injected, but I actually like this 10-valve turbo so much. I love the way it sounds and I love the nostalgia that I want to keep it for a little bit longer. So without further ado, we're going to start pulling apart this thing even further and hopefully we don't find any more expensive surprises. The engine's slowly coming apart and it can just be so frustrating working on a motor that's this old because everything is so rusted together. I've already broken 2 bolts and rounded off a couple nuts, so that can take some of the fun out of doing this. I'm getting pretty close to taking the turbo manifold off. I've been warned that these exhaust studs like to snap, so I'm definitely going to take my time. I've been spraying everything I can with that penetrating oil, trying to get stuff loosened up. I'm excited to take the compressor housing off right now and see what that wheel looks like. I've already been looking at turbos, so we'll probably order something pretty soon. I'm excited to get this head off finally so we can see what the pistons look like. It looks like a couple of the cylinders are a little bit rich, which I'm not surprised. That mechanical injection was really old and in disrepair. We'll get some new hoses for that, but for now, let's see if I can get this pulley off here. That wasn't so bad. Well, here we finally are at the last step, that's splitting the head from the block. I probably haven't split an engine like this in 6 or 7 years since I built the SR on my 240. Unless we find something wrong with one of the pistons, I probably won't really touch the bottom end. I didn't really have plans to, but now I'm starting to think maybe I should replace the piston rings at the very least to make sure that this engine has as much compression as possible. So let's get this thing apart and see what it looks like. The engine is as stripped down as I want to take it at this point, and unfortunately I do see a little bit of damage on the tops of the piston heads. Whatever got sucked in through that compressor wheel bounced off the top of them for a little while before getting kicked out the exhaust. I don't think it's that big of a deal. This looks like cosmetic damage to me, and I don't think it'll really affect the motor. The cylinder walls look totally fine, so that's good news. I still might replace the piston rings, we'll see. I think that's something that I can do in the garage. I guess while I'm doing that, I could do the rod bearings too, but I don't want to buy new pistons. When you end up buying pistons, you end up buying rods, and then the block can hold more power because everything's forged, and then you end up, putting it on standalone with a bigger turbo, and that's just way more than I ever want this car to be. For now, I'm actually going to replace that turbo with a little bit smaller turbo that'll make it spool faster, but make about the same horsepower, and it might actually make a little bit more because I'm going to run a stiffer wastegate spring, which will probably make this car even more fun to drive, especially now that it's not going to have like 5 different exhaust leaks. So I'm going to take the cylinder head over to some friends of mine downtown at Aluminum Head Rebuilders, and they're going to get that thing all refreshed for me. They're going to get the studs out of it. They're going to put new seals in the valves, so that thing will be 100%. I'm going to start cleaning off this block and all the parts so we can start painting some of the stuff and make it look really nice. I got some Cerakote that can withstand temperatures of 1800 degrees, so not only will it be protected, but it will also look awesome. And then we can start putting all the fresh, new, shiny bits on. No more pulling off broken, rusty bolts. If I had to put a timeline on it, I'm hoping to get this thing back in the car by the end of the month, but I think that's really optimistic. Check your polarizer.